you really love yourself? Like, think about it. Do you love you? And do you really want what's best for you? This is the question I've had to ask myself multiple times over the course of a year and for the past couple of months because I noticed about myself that I would make a promise to myself. I would tell myself that I want to do something and find myself not doing them. And I think I'm going to share a story on how that came to be. But before that, there is something very powerful that I heard this week. So I listened to a man named Bedros Krillian on Spotify. He's also on YouTube. He's one of the people I listen to regularly, and big ups to him. He's a motivation and one of my inspirations. So if you'd love to hear what he says, or if you'd love to listen to his podcast, it's Bedros Krillian on Spotify and YouTube. So basically, what he said was that if you really love yourself, you would keep the promises that you make. You would keep the promises that you make to yourself. Like, if you really love yourself, you would keep the promises that you make to yourself. So I'm gonna tell a story real quick. It's not necessarily a story, but it's something that I've realized I did a lot in 2023. Full transparency, 2023 was one of my was not necessarily my best year. It was in full transparency, it was like my worst year in a long time because okay, I graduated from secondary school in 2020. 2021, I was at home for a year before I got admission into the university. So from 2020 to 2023, I'm what 2020 to 2022. I think those were like my best years, and 2023 I had a huge crash. So that is a story for another day. But basically, I'm just going to share with you what happened to me in 2023. So in 2023, I've realized that I would tell myself that I'm going to do a particular thing, and I wouldn't keep the promise to myself. I would tell myself that I want to work out, I want to be consistent with my workout plan, or I want to be consistent with my walk with God. And I would do it for a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month tops, and then give up. I would try something else. I would get into a another activity, for instance, my personal development. I would get into another. I would tell myself that I want to read a book this week. I would read a couple of chapters and not finish the book. So I tried a lot of things. I attempted a lot of things, but I just kept on realizing that I never stuck with it. I never completed it. I never stayed true to my word. And one day I sat down and really analyzed that what is really going on here. There's a quote that's there's a famous quote that I think a lot of us have heard, and it's this: think about what you're thinking about. Like, really think about why you're making the choices that you're making. Really think about why your mind works the way it works. Think about why you do certain, or why you behave in certain ways. So I sat down with my pen and my book, and I began to write down, okay, like, why do I really back out from difficult things? Why do I really back up from difficult things? Because I noticed that I give up easily, or whenever things got tough, I would take the path of least resistance. I would just back off. So, and it was a recurring thing. I realized that I was weak mentally. I didn't have mental fortitude. I literally lacked character and backbone. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe that I could amount to anything great, if I could put it that way. And this is something that builds up over time. It's something that builds up over time. It starts from as simple as laying your bed every single day. I know you would say that it doesn't really matter, but let me tell you this, wins stack up. The more wins you get under your belt, the more confidence you get in your ability to accomplish things. So it starts from racking up wins. Because over time, I realized that I racked up a lot of losses. So how this even started was that in 2022, I went into a business venture that flopped. So I started a coaching program. Yeah, I started a coaching program and I wasn't, and it turned itself on its head and it flopped. And I got discouraged because prior to that, every single thing that I did literally succeeded. Like I'm literally multi-talented. I play the keyboard. I was good at arts. I was good in school. I was good at sports. So over time, I noticed that that I'm just naturally good at things. So when I came across this roadblock and didn't scale the roadblock, I realized that oh, maybe there are things that I'm not good at. And think about it, it's okay to not be good at things, but it is not okay to let yourself wallow in self doubt or pity because you are not good at something. So that's what happened to me. So it was a coaching program for graphics design, and 2 months into the program, I let self doubt, I let imposter syndrome creep in because throughout that program, I kept on telling myself that I wasn't good enough. I'm not good enough. Like, who am I to be teaching these people? I'm not good enough. And I self sabotaged myself and came up with different excuses to end the program in the final month. And that really did something to my self confidence. It eroded my self confidence and it spilled over into every other thing in life. I was no longer consistent in my spiritual walk with God. I was no longer consistent with my personal development. I was no longer because the thoughts, that singular thoughts, crept into my life. It crept into my thinking, my thought patterns. It crept into my personal life, and everything that I did from that point on, the thought kept on ringing in my head. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. It's gonna fail. You're not good enough. And I sat down. I thought about this thing. I was like, okay, so what really is the problem? Like, why am I thinking these thoughts? Like, why do I feel like I'm not good enough? So for the whole of 2023, I racked up losses. I was waking up late. I wasn't being consistent with my gym, my workout routine. I wasn't being consistent with my personal development. I wasn't being consistent with anything. I was sleeping in late and I'll wake up late. My diet was all over the place. My spiritual walk was all over the place. Like, it was crazy. So imagine a whole year of racking up losses, a whole year of racking up losses. So it was crazy. So I'm saying all of this to let you know that I myself am not perfect. I'm also on the growth journey with you guys. I'm also trying to be a better person. But one thing that really helped me, I spoke with my dad about this, and he said, as simple as setting an alarm for yourself and telling yourself you're going to wake up at this time and do this no matter what. It starts from that point, from your waking moment, and it ends at your the moment you tell yourself you're going to go to bed. Like, you have to be disciplined to tell yourself, I'm going to sleep at this time and I'm going to wake up at this time. You have to be disciplined to tell yourself that at this time I'm going to work on this activity and nothing is going to distract me. You have to tell yourself that at this time I'm going to arrange my room. Little activities such as that, racking up the wins, proving to yourself that you are good enough. Because what really happened with me was that I I know that I'm more than than where I am right now. I know that I'm meant for greatness. I know that I'm meant to be doing great things, but my mind needs proof, needs to be reminded of who I really am. Because so far, I have only shown evidence of what I am not. I have shown my mind evidence that I am a pushover. I've shown myself evidence that I'm not good enough. So I need evidence to back up the fact that I am meant for greatness. And this starts from keeping promises to yourself. When you say you're going to go to the gym, like go to the gym whether I feel like it or not. That's why I'm doing this challenge to force my mind to remind myself that I'm a hard worker, that I'm not lazy. Because that's another thought that has been plaguing my mind. I've been telling myself that I'm not a hard worker, that I'm lazy, and that crept into my life. So tell yourself that I'm going to do this, and no matter what happens, I'm going to stick to it. Create a to-do list. Set alarms on your phone for to schedule the times you're meant to be doing a particular activity, and just do it, whether you feel like it or not. Because the more you procrastinate and the more you kick off, or you push down the things you're supposed to do, the more it erodes at your self-confidence, at your self-belief. Because every single time you tell yourself you're going to do something and you don't do it, you are chipping away at your confidence. You're chipping away at your self-esteem. You're telling your mind that, nah, he's not going to do it. Every single time you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to step up and become, I'm going to step up, I'm going to go to the gym, and this year is my, or the famous quote, this year is my year. I'm going to make a difference. Because you've not shown your mind enough evidence, when you say such things or you want to accomplish such things, your mind just tells you, nah, he's not going to do it. Nah, he's just joking. Nah, you, this is your year. Joke's on you, man. There's no way. Ah, okay, they play. This is your year, right? Like that's what your mind literally does. So you have to prove to your mind. The battle is in your mind. The battle is with yourself. You have to prove to yourself that you can actually do this. Prove to yourself that you are good enough. Prove to yourself that you can do whatever you put your mind on, and you can do whatever you say you're going to do. Be a man of integrity. Be a man of integrity. Let your word carry substance. Like, be the person that whatever you say, as long as you've said it, it must happen. Be that person that when you make a promise or when you say you're going to do something, consider it done. Be that person that people can rely on, that when you say you're going to do something, is as good as it being done. Like your word is true. Like your word is your word is your bond. Like, be that person of integrity. Integrity doesn't necessarily mean keeping promises with other people, because it's possible for you to keep promises to other people and still not keep promises with yourself because you do not care about yourself. You have to love yourself enough to keep promises to yourself. You have to respect yourself enough to keep promises to yourself. Let me give you an example. There are two people. Let's say you have two friends. One friend, yeah, one friend promises you that one friend promises you that or let's say you promise two people, yeah, two friends something, yeah, and you keep your promise with the first friend, and the second friend you do not keep your promise with that person. What would you say what do you say is going on in that dynamic? You would say that you do not necessarily value the other person that you defaulted on the promise with. You would say that you do not like the person that you defaulted on. You would say that you do not respect or you do not love the person that you defaulted on. But the person that you kept a promise with, you would say you value that time. You would say that that person loves that person or respects that person because he kept to his word and he delivered on his promise. So if that applies to other people, how much more yourself? If you tell yourself that I am going to wake up at this time, just do it. Just do it, because each time you click the snooze button, your self-confidence erodes by, for example, 1%. And imagine doing that every day for 3 months. 1%. Your confidence is going down by 1%, by 1%, by 1%, until you're literally at zero and you're in an all-time low. and you realize that why am I where I am right today? Like I have no confidence, I have no self motivation, like I don't feel like doing anything. I'm trying this but it's not working out. I'm doing this, but it starts from the little things. Keep promises to yourself. Keep promises to yourself, because every single win matters, because your wins compound and eventually lead to a huge win. For every huge win that you see in your life, there were smaller wins along the way that led up to that big win. So in today's message, I'm just here to tell you to, love yourself. Don't give up on yourself. Respect yourself. Value yourself. Keep your word to yourself. You are the you are the you know, of course God is the most important person here, but after God, you should value yourself before you even think of valuing others, because how can you value other people or respect other people if you do not even respect yourself, if you do not know even how to respect yourself? It is in respecting and loving yourself that you're able to show love to others. You're able to respect other people, and you're able to keep promises to other people. But if you're not able to love yourself properly and do what you have to do, regardless of how you feel, how is that going to translate into life? Because it is out of the abundance of your heart that life flows. What you see in your life right now is an overflow of what is in your heart. So if you do not love yourself, that's what's going to show up in your life. That's what's going to show up in your actions. So love yourself and value yourself and respect yourself, and know that you are important. What you think is important. What you say is important. What you feel about yourself is important. So start acting in accordance to how you want to be seen. You want to be in great shape? Ask yourself, what does someone that is in great shape do? And do exactly what he does. It doesn't matter if you're not that person, but if you adopt the actions of a person that is in great shape, eventually you will be in great shape every day, just doing something every day. Your self confidence builds up, your self love builds up, your you rack up wins, and eventually you get to that point. But it doesn't just end up at that. You don't just wish to be something and then end up at that point. You have to rack up the daily wins, overcome the daily struggles, defy your limiting beliefs every single day, and eventually you would see yourself at your desired outcome. So this is day 8, and see you in the next video. Cheers.